Right, I'll just turn this screen around. Right, new gasket. Now, on the head, see this bit here? That's part of your breather. And you can put these gaskets on both ways. So I can put it on, I'll put it on the wrong way to start with. You can put the gasket on like that and everything lines up apart from this is open, so your breather's open. I'll lift it up so you can see it. See that bit there is a closed off bit. That's not closed off that way. So your gasket wants to go on. Now, well, that's going to show up because I'm looking at a tiny screen, but you can see the pattern there. That's to go over that bit where your breather is. So make sure your gasket's on the right way. And then get your rocker box, your housing bottom plate, whatever you want to call it. And then grab one of the bolts, a little bit of blue Loctite, just a little dab, you don't need massive amounts. I've run a dye down these nuts as well, because whoever did this job last put a massive amount of Loctite on, which probably explains why it was right. So that's one bolt in, just obviously make sure that your gasket's lining up. I'll just grab one of the bolts, a little drop of Loctite, I'm just going to block your view a sec, just while I make sure all this is lined up. Right. I'm just going to nip it to the side of the bike and put the back. What you've got as well, you've got 4 short ones and 2 long ones. The 2 long ones go in the far side. So I'll just go and put them 2 in. That's it, same thing, little drop of Loctite. Pardon me. Right. And if I can find me my tools, I'll just wind these in. I'm using my 1/4 inch drive. Sockets for this, socket set should I say, and I'm going to have the little universal joint on there. Now, just nip them, don't even nip them really, just get it so it's just so it touches. You still want to be able to move it about. Just do the same on this. Oh, fucking awesome. Try not to drop your socket down the hole for the push rod. As I say, just so it's touching, you're not tightening it up yet, because you want to be able to move it around so you can line it up. But obviously I want to get the other two bolts in first. Bit of blue. Right. Should I check something out here? Spot on. I can get my torque wrench on there. Right, I'll just get my torque wrench and set it up. Oh, it's there. I was going to say I thought I'd lost me adapter for the end of me thing then. Right, and these where am I at? Newton meters, I don't want it that high. Right, so 18 Newton meters I've set this for. And before I do anything, I'm just going to check this for line. I'm just going to block your view for a sec. Now what you could do, if you could have had what on there. What I'm checking for line here is these bolt holes go through the plate obviously for your breather, but also your bolts for your rockers. So you want to make sure that they all sort of sit centrally in their holes. I'll put a lot in. Now I'm just starting them in just to see how central the bolts are in the holes. And it's looking so far that's bob on. So now I'll just double check me settings because I thought that had moved, but it obviously hadn't. Right, starting with the rear middle. Let's say 18 Newton meters. Hopefully. And then just go over them again. Right, and I can take these back out, because I'm not putting the rockers on just yet, because the motor's still set for the rear at top dead centre on the power, on the compression should I say, so I'll do the rear one first. I'll put the rockers on there first. So, I'll just knock it off and move you so you can see the back one, and then we'll come back. Right, exactly the same as front. You've got your breather open in there, gasket on the right way, so that the breather opening is covered. Rocker cover base, sorry, rocker housing bottom plate. Right, something's in the way. Something's catching, I'll just have to have a look. A wire. Right, now I've already put a double Loctite on. Come on. The easiest way of doing this, to be truthful, is lift it up. Once you've got your first hole lined up, the rest go pretty easy. What a knob, I've just put him in the wrong fucking hole. Thought that looked a bit odd. Even though I've run a tap down each hole, they're still a bit stiff. And I've run a die nut down each bolt as well. Right, and we'll do exactly the same as what we did on the front, on the front cylinder should I say. We'll put these rocker assembly bolts in. In the breather bolts, and then line the plate up so that everything's sort of central in the holes on the plate, that is. Maybe I shouldn't have put them in yet. And that's looking good. Yeah, so I'll just nip them down Run them down again. I always usually double them all, torque them twice. Just a habit of mine. Right, that's them torqued on. So, stick these back out for now. And I'll just have to remember that when I put the breather bolt, sorry, when I put the rocker gear on, the breather bolt has to, well, the breather has to go on with it, because that back, the bolt under the frame won't come out. So the fact that it won't come out means it won't go in either. I've also cleaned these and cleaned the surfaces. Right, so what we'll do next is we'll put the push rods together, push rod tubes, sorry, with the new O-rings, and we'll get them put in. So I'll move you, I'll knock you off for a sec, move you, and we'll get cracked on with that one. Right, we'll start with the inlet push rod. So I've cleaned these, so I've stripped off the old whatchamacallit, gasket, seals, whatever you want to call them. Right, so start with your tube, squash bit, that would be the bit that goes to the top. So just empty this out. Now you've got your cap that slides in the middle. It's like closed, sort of rolled over on one end and open on the other. So obviously the rolled end goes on the push tube, on the top tube. Then your spring goes in, and then there's a washer, flat washer, that goes on. Now on your seals, you've got three rubber seals. You've got two, a big one and a little one, that are both sort of the same thickness, and then you've got a fat one. Now the fat one goes on that end, on the top. That's the one that goes up into your cylinder head. The little one, where you've got the big one and the little and a similar thickness, the little one goes over this tube, which then, when you put it all together, it slides and seals the centre section. But before I push that on properly, I want to put a bit of just a touch of lube on it. I always lube up me O-rings on me push rods, and I'll just use a bit of assembly lube. Just need a little tiny touch. just helps it slide, seal up better. Well, I don't know about sealing up better, but it helps it slide up the tube better. I've lost my rag now. Right, so get your tube, just push it on, and just push it. See the marks on, the marks on there. Don't push them all the way up, just till you get to them marks. Got plenty of room to get it in. Once you've got that far, just wipe the oil off my fingers. You get your other part, and you've got like a flared end. Looks almost like a trumpet end. That's the bit that slides, that's the centre. So, if you get your the big fat smaller one, I'll just squeeze a little bit of assembly lube out. And just lube up that one. And then just sit that on the top. While I've still got lube on my fingers, I'll lube this bottom one up. And then get that one on the bottom. And then I'll just sit that down there a second. And I'll get the push rod. I'm just going to wipe the ends just to make sure that there's no out on them from when I cleaned them. Right, and I'm just going to put a blob of assembly lube just on one end for now. Don't need massive amounts. So, then grab your push rod tube, sort of hover it over where it's meant to be, don't push it right into place, but then you can feed your push rod down, but then you can lift your tube just to make sure that it's seated properly in its, if I grab my torch, and I can see that it's sitting in the top of the lifter properly there. And then we'll repeat the whole process with the exhaust one. So pull it apart. It's already in position. Cap on, spring, washer. So I'll just grab another set of washers. Grab the thin little one. Exactly the same as before. Just a tiny bit of lube. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to lube all three before I. So I'm just going to stick this one on the middle tube, on the top tube, but in the middle. And then I'll shove that into the bottom tube. And then I'll grab the top one, lube it up, sit that on there, and then I'll grab the bottom one and lube that up. Shove it on the bottom, and then before I do anything with that one, I'll wipe the oil off my fingers. And then wipe the oil off this push rod tube. It's easier to do it now. Right, and then again, just sort of semi-sit it in place. Don't push it into place yet. Push rod. Now remember that your inlet push rod's silver and your exhaust push rod's black. Don't get them mixed up because one's longer than the other. Same thing, just a drop of lube on one end. Shove it down the hole. Lift it up. Just make sure you've got it in the seat properly, in the top of the lifter, which it is. And that's that done. Now I've just found a washer, sorry, a seal. That's on, that's on, that one's on, I can see it, that one's on, I can see it, that one's on, that must be an old one. But, just going to double check. Right, them ones are on, that one's on, that one's on, that's on, and that's on. And I knew it wasn't the bottom ones anyways because it was too small, so that must be an old one that I've not chucked away for some strange reason. Right, and at this stage, because you know they're seated properly in the bottom, we'll actually put these into position. So, push the bottom all the way in on both of them, and then holding it, just push it up. Now the one that you want to make sure is in the right place is this one that goes up into the head. So I'll just grab a screwdriver. I just seen one a second ago. There she is. Just use a screwdriver and hold in at the bottom so it doesn't pop out at the bottom. Just push the top all the way up, and then you know it's in place. And then you can do the same with the exhaust one. Get it up into for some reason that's sticking. And they're all the way up. So next screwdriver, can't see. Right, and when you're happy you can line them up how you want them, and that's that one in. This one I'll grab my other screwdriver this time. So I'm going to just hold that down while I hold that up, just so it all goes without pulling it out the top, because it's so easy to pull these back out when you first put them in, because the new O-ring, and it hasn't had a chance to spread. So same thing, screwdriver in, push the plate. Ooh. Give it a bit of a rattle about. And then you can set them where you want them. Right, and I think what we'll do is we'll start putting this rocker assembly on. So I'm going to move you, so I'll knock you off a sec.